the government effectively restricts the reach and influence of independent media. KBC's editorial line has historically mirrored the government's position, leaving little room for critical perspectives or investigative journalism. This directive is a deliberate attempt to stifle dissenting voices, control the public narrative, and ultimately weaken the democratic fabric of the nation. A healthy democracy thrives in plurality of ideas and viewpoints, not on a singular government-sanctioned narrative. Kenya is a signatory to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Kenya ratified this charter on January 23rd, 1992. This means that Kenya is legally bound to uphold the rights and freedoms enshrined in the charter, including the right to freedom of expression and the right to information, which are both crucial for a free and independent media. The Charter's Declaration of Principles of Freedom of Expression and Access to Information in Africa it's at Principle 24, and also it touches on economic measures, specifically provides that states shall promote a conducive economic environment in which all media can flourish, including through the adoption of policies for the provision of financial or other public support for the sustainability of all media through a fair, neutral, independent, and transparent process, and based on objective criteria. States shall ensure that the allocation of funds for public advertising is transparent and subject to public accountability, and they shall not abuse their power over the placement of public advertising. States shall adopt effective measures to avoid undue concentration of media ownership, whether horizontal or vertical. Such measures shall not be so stringent that they inhibit the development of the media sector as a whole. Further, the directive offends the Constitution of Kenya 2010 at a multiple level, including A, it offends the principle of governance under Article 10, specifically the principle of inclusivity. By having all government adverts directed to KBC means that all radio and TV audiences must tune into KBC for government information, thus excluding other broadcasters. B, further, the directive offends the legislative intent of Article 34 with regard to media freedom and diversity. Article 34 was intentionally inserted into the Constitution of Kenya to protect freedom of the media, which included freeing Kenyans from the dictatorship of KBC that had permeated under the one-party rule. C, the directive also runs afoul the non-discrimination, equal protection, and equal benefit of the law provisions under Article 27. The directive offends the principles of public finance under Article 201, which provides specifically under Article 10b(3) that the public finance system shall promote an equitable society, and in a particular expenditure shall promote the equitable development of the country, including making special provision for marginalized groups and areas. President of Kenya Editors Guild will continue from there.
I think it's okay. The Kisiangani memo to state officers and independent commissions is therefore an inexcusable breach of his oath of office, short-sighted, arbitrary, erroneous, malicious, discriminatory, demeans leadership and integrity principles, and therefore patently unconstitutional. We wonder, advertising is not the only service the state procures. Why the obsession to use extra legal and undemocratic measures to control it? Recent similar action by the very same Professor Kisiangani is already the subject of public interest litigation. KBC indeed needs help to grow strong and transform from a state broadcaster to the public broadcaster that the citizens of Kenya enshrined in their constitution. The first step to this is in freeing the hands and minds of the professionals at Broadcasting House to make independent, public-spirited determinations on how to apply its assets and deliver journalism that builds the nation, not to subject them to unhelpful commands from transient political actors calling the shots at any particular time. Worse, the Kisiangani memo defines the latest chapter in the state campaign against free media in the last few months. Evidence abound of state-sponsored trolls of senior editors, ill-advised campaigns against media houses, botched attempts to limit television coverage of political activities, impairment of media regulation mechanisms, to mention but a few. This state campaign has far-reaching consequences beyond silencing dissent. They represent a devastating blow to Kenya's independent media, already grappling with a decline in traditional revenue streams due to the rise of digital platforms. Government advertising has been an important enabler of media diversity, encouraging a multiplicity of investors to provide alternative media, especially at community and devolved levels. Broadly, it helped investment in quality journalism, maintain a diverse workforce, and reach wider audiences. Diverting these resources exclusively to KBC will starve young independent media of crucial financial oxygen, potentially forcing closures, job losses, and drastic reduction in the media landscape. This not only undermines the public's right to access diverse information, but also stifles economic activity and innovation within the media sector. A vibrant independent media landscape fosters a healthy business environment, attracting new investment and promoting economic growth. By crippling this sector, the government is shooting itself in the foot. State interference in the media landscape sends a chilling message to local and international investors. It signals a shift away from a free market and towards an environment where political connections, not merit or innovation, determine success. Investors rely on a transparent and predictable business environment to make informed decisions. This government action undermines that very foundation. Foreign investors, in particular, may view Kenya's media landscape as risky and unstable, deterring much-needed investment that could fuel the growth of the sector and the economy as a whole. This ultimately hurts both the media and the nation's overall economic well-being. The latest assaults on media by the Kenya Kwanza coalition government indicates that the open hostility inherited from the previous administration towards independent media, civil society, and other watchdog institutions continues unabated. It is important to point out that the principles underlying constitutional guarantees of free and independent media are not for benefit of media in itself, but in protection of citizen rights to free flow of information and to receive and impart ideas without hindrance. Noteworthy also is that the Kenya media does not demand, let me repeat that, the government and the Kenya media does not demand a share of government advertising spend right, but simply asks for fair, prudent, non-discriminatory, and transparent utilization of public resources. We believe that the decision on government advertising are not designed to ensure prudent use of public funds, but are in pursuit of an insidious plot to kill free and independent media. It is Kenya democracy that is at stake, not just the free media. We therefore, in light of these alarming developments, one, call on all media practitioners, media entities, and friends of free media to unite in solidarity in defense of our hard-earned rights to a free media, access to information, and freedom of expression, and to strongly and jointly rebuff any agents of darkness keen to turn off the media lights. We urge independent media outlets to stand firm against state interference and continue to uphold the principles of journalism, integrity, and independence. Let us remind the government that a free press isn't a privilege, it's a cornerstone of democracy. We appeal to friendly nations, development partners, investors, and proponents of democracy, freedom of information, and human rights worldwide to speak out against the erosion of media freedom in Kenya and to pressure the government to respect the rule of law and democratic principles. Their silence in the face of this assault is deafening. The assault on media freedom in Kenya must be met with unwavering resistance and collective action. We cannot afford to remain silent in the face of government overreach and attempts to undermine our democratic institutions. Now more than ever, we must stand together to defend the principles of media freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. Let us send a clear message to those in power that we will not tolerate any infringement on our fundamental rights and freedoms. Together, we can safeguard the future of independent media in Kenya and ensure that it remains a vital pillar of our democracy, promoting transparency, accountability, and sustainable economic growth for all Kenyans. And this speech today has been signed, or this statement has been signed by 21 associations under the Kenya Media Sector Working Group, namely the Kenya Editors Guild, Kenya Union of Journalists, Kenya Correspondents Association, Kenya Parliamentary Journalists Association, Association of Media Women in Kenya, Article 19 East Africa, Kenya Parliamentary Journalists Association, Baraza Media Lab, Association of Devolution Journalists, Kenya Community Media Network, Development Through Radio, Association of Professional Broadcasters, Digital Broadcasters Association, Media Owners Association, Grassroots Journalists Association, Association of Freelance Journalists, the Foreign Press Association Africa, Digital Publishers Association, Eastern Africa Editors Society, and the Association of Kenya Community Media Operators.
Just to add to the statement, we are just telling the government that it's basically Professor Kisiangani to stop hoodwinking Kenyans. We've already made presentations even to the government and parliament on how KBC is supposed to be funded. And KBC funding, KBC is very, very important to us. And we said this, the government and the PS should stop running away from their responsibility. Let the government finance KBC 100% from Treasury, not subjecting KBC to start doing business for it to finance its operation. If you look at what is happening in other countries, national broadcasters are funded 100% by the exchequer. Why does the government want to doing Kenyans to make KBCs to go out there to look for business instead of looking for information to give Kenyans? So we are not opposed to the government supporting KBC. I think we have to get this right. What we are saying is the formula the government is taking is meant to hoodwink Kenyans. Let Treasury give KBC the budget that the KBC requires to finance its operation like it's happening in other countries.
Na bila shaka tukirejelea kwa lugha ya Kiswahili, wito wetu ni kwa serikali kuheshimu katiba. Kwa sababu wa Kenya walikuwa wakijua ni kwa nini kwa mashirika yote na makampuni yote nchini walihiari kuiweka ama kuweka uhuru wa vyombo vya habari chini ya haki za kimsingi, Bill of Rights. Mbona hakuna shirika lingine ambalo limewekwa chini ya Bill of Rights? Ni kwa sababu kila Mkenya ana haki ya kupata habari wakati wowote, na habari hizo atazipata kupitia vyombo vya habari. Profesa Kisiangani kuweka masharti kwa asasi za serikali kwamba ni lazima machapisho yote au matangazo yote ya serikali yapitie KBC ni kumnyima Mkenya haki ya kupata habari, na vile vile kuwanyima haki wale wanahabari na mashirika mengine ya habari ya kupeperusha habari na kuhakikisha kwamba kila Mkenya anafikiwa na habari wakati wowote. Kwa hivyo huwezi kubagua vyombo vya habari na kwenda kinyume na katiba na masharti ambayo yamewekwa kwenye mikataba ambayo Kenya imetia saini bila mashauriano na bila hata kuyashirikisha mashirika mengine, kampuni nyingine. Tumekuwa tukizungumza kuhusu kushuka kwa matangazo au idadi ya matangazo ambayo huwa tunayapata kama vyombo vya habari. Sisi hatuuzi habari, tunategemea machapisho na matangazo. Tumekuwa tukizungumza kuhusu namna vyombo vya habari vimeathirika kufuatia ujio wa mfumo wa dijitali. Lakini upande mwingine, serikali ina fedha ambazo haijalipa. Tunaunga mkono mashauriano na serikali kuhusu namna ya kufufua KBC. Mojawapo ikiwa kutathmini ile sheria KBC Act ya mwaka ambayo imekuwa ikitumika tangu miaka ya 80. Hapo ndio suluhu ipo. Suluhu haipo katika kukandamiza vyombo vya habari na uhuru wa vyombo vya habari humu nchini. Na ndio sababu tukaita hiki kikao kutoa ujumbe kwa serikali kwamba vyombo vya habari ni haki ya kimsingi ambayo imewekwa kwenye katiba ambayo ndio sheria kubwa humu nchini inayostahili kuheshimiwa, kwamba ni lazima watii uhuru wa vyombo vya habari na watii haki ya Wakenya ya kupata habari bila kubaguliwa. Kwa sababu kwa mfano, hao ni watu wangapi ambao wameajiriwa katika vyombo vya habari? Hivi kwamba sasa tukisema tufunge vyombo vingine vyote vya habari, matangazo ya serikali yatolewe kupitia KBC pekee. Je, tunatii katiba kwa kufanya hivyo? Tunatii sheria kwa kufanya hivyo? Kwa hivyo tunakemea kama wakuu ama wadau katika sekta ya wanahabari hatua ambayo imechukuliwa na Profesa Kisiang'ani. Tunajua kwamba kuna kesi moja ambayo tayari imewasilishwa mahakamani ambayo tungependa kuizungumzia sana. Na sasa unaona kuna jaribio la pili la kujaribu kunyima vyombo vya habari haki ya kimsingi, haki ya kikatiba. Na ndio sababu tumejitokeza na kusema imetosha. Hatuwezi kukubali tena kuketi na kuona vyombo vya habari vikidhulumiwa na kunyanyaswa humu nchini.
Tunasema kwamba Profesa Kisiang'ani ni kama yule mzee ambaye anavunja nyumba yake akifikia kwamba anaadhibu watoto wake. Kisha ikifika jioni, mvua ikija, inanyeshea kila mtu, kila kitu kiliyopo katika hiyo nyumba kinaharibika. Kwa sababu vile mwenzangu amesema kwamba vyombo vya habari zinaajiri Wakenya wengi sana kama nyinyi hapa. Wakati unaanza kutoa sheria ambazo zinaadhibu, ukifikia unaadhibu vyombo vya habari, unanyanyasa wale Wakenya ambao wameajiriwa katika hizo vyombo vya habari. Kwa hivyo tunasema kwamba Profesa Kisiang'ani kama hana namna labda ama hana mawazo ya kusaidia KBC, tunaweza tumshauri kwa bila kulipa malipo yote vile anaweza kusaidia KBC na KBC iweze kufanya kazi yake. Maana yake tumeenda paka kule bunge tukapeana presentation vile KBC inaweza saidika na iweze kufanya kazi yake kama national broadcaster. Kwa hivyo tunaomba Profesa Kisiang'ani kama hana mawazo, tunaweza mshauri bila malipo yoyote. Questions?
Yeah, let me read to my name is Martin Opio from K24 TV. You have said that some of this directive, of course, does contravene the 2010 Constitution in multiple levels. Are we looking at a situation maybe that you're going to challenge this particular directive in court?
Yes, already our lawyers are working on some papers so that we go to court, and I think once we file, you should be able to be notified that we filed in court, because all these policies, like we said, they will not go unchallenged. We'll challenge all of them.
Any other question? Swali nyingine?
Iko sawa?
Asanteni kwa kuja. Tuzidi kutetea na kulinda uhuru wa vyombo vya habari nchini.